Welcome to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're having a good time. Survived the heat wave if you're in the UK. Oh, Jesus, never again. Well, until next year anyway. But I want to talk a bit about Carl Froch because I met up with G-Man in London on Saturday before I went to a gig, and we were having a chat about boxing, obviously. And I mentioned Froch, and you know, there's something about Froch I find unbelievably dull. And I said this to G-Man. I said, what is it? What do you think I find irritating about him? And he said, well, he's not a charismatic man, and therefore he has to do what a lot of charismatic people who lack charisma do, or lack of personality do, and that's he's got to be controversial. Now, I think he hit on something there. That's why I really get irritated with Carl Froch, because I do find him crushingly dull. Great fighter, you know, very, very good fighter. Nothing but respect for him in the ring. The only knock against him was that the first George Groves fight was stopped way too early by our friend Howard Foster, way too early. But, you know, no doubt about the rematch, and he got great wins over Butte, and you know, I enjoyed his career just purely from a boxing fan perspective. He achieved an awful lot. Good luck to the man. Made a lot of money. Good luck to the man. But even when he was fighting, when you'd see him interviewed, I thought, he's a bit bland, isn't he? He hasn't got any charisma. You know, I'll watch him fight, but I'm not overly keen on listening to him. He doesn't seem to have anything to say. And then when he retired, he was good mates with Eddie Hearn, wasn't he? And he did a bit of Sky punditry, I think, and his punditry was okay. But I mean, the voice, just the voice alone, that sort of the cadence of his voice, the monotone, it's so boring. I think you do need a good voice, or a distinctive voice. Let's put it that way. If you're going to do any kind of punditry or broadcasting work or radio work or whatever. Now, of course, this is the age of the internet, so anyone can have a YouTube channel. Look at me, you know. And so anyone can have their say. And I mean anyone. Everyone from people who are genuine intellectuals who know what they're talking about, people who have spent their entire lives and careers studying something, to absolute fucking morons. And God only knows the world is full of them. I mean, as someone once said to me, you know, there's, 7 billion people in the world, 7 billion people in the world. Stands to reason there's going to be a couple of 100 million twats, isn't it? Let's be honest. And I'm sad to say that Carl Froch is very closer to the latter than the former for me, for the reason that G-Man mentioned to me on Saturday. It seems to me that Froch, he needs to, if he wants to create an online presence, he's got to be controversial. And which is why, even when he's criticising, he'll go beyond constructive criticism to where he just can't resist putting the boot in. You know, he's done it with Joshua. I don't know what he's got against Joshua. I thought they were on good terms once upon a time. And yes, you can make criticisms of Joshua. Of course you can. But there's also an awful lot he achieved in his career, an awful lot he achieved. You know, 2-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. He was a gold medal winner at the Olympics. And, you know, you can always pick fault with anything. You know, yeah, I know at the Olympics he got a gift decision, and yeah, true. But nevertheless, you know, why not the guy? You know, he's achieved something. He wasn't the judge. And we all know that Olympic judging is fucking away with the fairies anyway. All sorts of corruption going on there. But it's the manner in which he presents his opinions, Froch I'm talking about now, that I find irritating. And in fact, Eddie Hearn, and I've no great love of Eddie Hearn either, but he said this. He said, look, you know, why does Carl have to be so almost vindictive with his words? Now, if you put that sort of attitude together, I mean, the answer is that he does that because he wants to, you know, make himself well known, you know, put himself in the window shop in terms of, you know, punditry, commentary, plus the fact, you know, controversy sells. So he does that quite deliberately. And of course he might say, well, I'm just trolling, or, you know, I'm giving my opinion. I'm I'm just saying what a lot of other people think. Again, that may be true. That may be true. But of course, just because you say something that other people think, who are the other people? Are they highly intelligent, informed people, or are they morons? Because we can all speak for other people. It depends what the caliber or the quality of the other person is. And in the case of Froch, I think he just appeals to those who like a bit of, who like stirring the pudding, who like a bit of souped up drama for nothing. Now, of course, I'm not saying that Carl Froch is an idiot. He isn't a moron. No, he doesn't come across as being stupid by any stretch of the imagination. But in the past, he's had some funny ideas, hasn't he? And when I see funny, I, of course, mean stupid ideas. Now, I don't know whether he was trolling. You'll have to correct me on this. But wasn't he at one point saying that he thought there's a possibility the Earth is flat? I know we're going back a few years, but it's always stuck in my mind. Because in order to say, well, I think the Earth might be flat, not is flat, might be flat, you have to be either so staggeringly naive or a complete and utter imbecile to believe that stuff. When I say naive, I suppose I mean uneducated, or and yet there he was, and he kind of buys. I mean, all right, he mentioned the COVID vaccine, which I think we were all very sceptical of, still am, of course, and yeah, okay, but then he goes one further to being a complete anti-vaxxer, and anyone who knows anything about even basic chemistry and physiology, how the body works, knows that to sort of lump all vaccines together as being some sort of, especially if it's some sort of conspiracy, as if people have, as if there's some great cabal sitting in a sort of darkened lead box, wondering how to take over the world, and will do it through vaccine. Anyone who goes down that path is just really needs to be in a psychiatric ward. And Froch himself has sort of alluded to a lot of that sort of stuff. Now, again, he might have been trolling. If so, well done, Carl. You sort of half fooled me, and you probably half fooled a lot of other people. But again, even if he was trolling, and he does troll about a lot of things, is that really entertaining? Is that really funny? To me, banter, if that's what you want to call it, banter, has to have wit, and it must not cross the line where it seems vindictive, where it seems nasty. It's usually between two people who know each other, and they're just sort of winding each other up. It's kind of like with Eddie Hearn. You remember when he had this thing going with a couple of them, didn't he? Coogan, Parsons, and it would almost cross the line to where he was really having a dig at people. I mean, Coogan's quite a big lad. He'd probably, be capable of standing Eddie on his head. But Parsons is, what is he? He's only about 5'5", 5'6", or whatever he is. He's only a little fella. And Eddie, 6'4". There were rumours that Eddie Hearn, or I've read things anyway, claiming that Eddie Hearn was a bit of a bully when he was at school. I can sort of believe that. Christ, I wish he'd tried to bully me. But yeah, sometimes you get this sort of nastiness that's hidden behind, well, it's just banter. Well, we're just having a laugh. No, I didn't really mean that. I was just joking. Well, don't fucking joke like that, And also, you can always spot someone who doesn't quite understand the dynamics, shall we say, of wit, because they will never, ever make fun of themselves. There'll be no sort of self-effacement at all. It'll always be aimed at other people, usually punching quite low as well. And Froch seems to me to be that type of person. So, in conclusion, I just find Carl Froch tedious, really quite boring. And it's a shame because, like I say, I enjoyed his career. He's a good career. Never the most skillful of guys, but tough as fuck, and achieved an awful lot. Probably overachieved, come to think of it. I mean, I still think Kawasaki would have slapped him round and won most of the rounds against him, but I don't think he'd have stopped Froch. Froch is very, very tough man, very tough man. So what do you think? I mean, don't get me wrong. Carl Froch doesn't offend me. I'm not saying I'm offended in this era of being offended. No, that's not it. That's not what I'm on about. I'm saying that I just find him boring. So do you agree or not? Tell me. I'm sure some people find me boring. He'd probably say, "Who the fuck are you? I don't care about you." And he should say that, because if he called me boring, I'd say, "All right, mate, you find me boring, so what?" But just as an observation, tell me what you think. Do you agree with me or not? Let me know. let me know. And yeah, thanks very much for listening. If you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Go on, give that little subscription thing a punch, because it costs you nothing and you're helping the channel out. And it's free. And there aren't, I mean, much in modern life that's free, is there? But anyway, thanks a lot. I'll speak to you soon. Looking forward to reading your comments. Bye for now.